Well, if your opponent or a friend playing the classical London system regularly, then the following trap I'm about to show you not only give you a great victory, but even though, let's say, he doesn't fall for the trap, you still obtain a very good position. After d4, my recommendation is you start with d6, and when the classical London system players start with knight to f3, we play this weight defense move, bishop to g4. So idea is very obvious. In some lines, we will take that knight and give white a double pawn. But London player doesn't bother about all this. They continue with their fixed layout, bishop to f4, and after our crafty move, knight to d7, if you check the database, there are roughly 2000 games continue with the usual move, e3. Well, guess what? White player straight away fallen into our trappy territory, and the trappy business start with this remarkable move, e5. Okay, black is attacking the bishop, so white has to take it, and after d captures e5, white bishop has a 3 location, and amongst them, 2 of them are outright bad. Well, first time when I played this variation, one of my friend, which has a strength of 2200, continue with bishop captures e5, and clearly thinks that I blunder a pawn, but the matter of fact is, it is now white who is losing with knight captures e5. What his idea was that he wants to first exchange the queen and now take my piece, as that bishop is not pinning anything. But what has been missed out is this very deadly checkmate. So that's the reason why bishop captures e5 is right out of the equation. The second move, bishop to g5, is equally very wrong, and I can see you know the answer instantly. Yup, bishop captures f3, counter-attacking the white queen. If queen takes bishop, then we can take the dark square bishop and black emerge with a piece up. And the same story goes if white first take our queen, and when we take his queen, at the end of the scenario, once again black emerge with a whole piece advantage. So to cut the long story short, here white has the only response, namely bishop to g3, and after this, no prize for guessing black's obvious response. Yup, you got it, e5. Now if your opponent see this position first time, then he likely to make this blunder, namely h3, which in fact roughly 300 people has fallen into. The only way to avoid this trap is to play queen to d4, which we are going to look at the end. First, let's check out what happens if bishop to h3. Well, the answer is very obvious. You continue your pin with bishop to h5, and now white would love to play g4, but he cannot, as his bishop is blocking the file. Okay, the majority of the games continue with queen to d5 attacking the bishop, but after knight to f6 defending as well as attacking the queen. Queen captures b7, what else? And now you don't play e captures f3, which majority of the games continues. Instead of that, I propose this very strong move, rook to b8, which in fact finishing the game just within few moves. Well, obvious enough, queen can't take on c7 because of the end of the transaction. Queen takes, bishop takes, and the move rook to c8. 2 of the white pieces are hanging. So that's not the idea. The big point is white wants to take on a7, And when we take on f3, white will be delighted to see bishop captures c7, where at least he get rook for two minor pieces, right? And yes, indeed, it's true. And when I first time see this variation, I said, wow, is it real? Because black can play a very calm move here, queen to c8, allowing white to capture our rook. But after that, this deciding blow, queen captures c2, and no matter after this, whatever white plays, he is going to lose the game. Obviously, there are two threats. Number one, we have bishop to b4 check, and number two, very nasty one, f captures g2 and then queen to d1, a checkmate. So white needs to parry both of them, and accordingly, knight to d2 is the only move. But after our knight to e4, I think white is already busted. His knight is hanging. The only good way to defend this knight is to play queen to a5, which in fact doesn't solve the problem, as black has this tactical resource. Knight captures d2, queen captures d2, and now the stunning blow. F captures g2, and white can pack his bag and go home. Well, he has two options. Number one, if he takes our queen, then after bishop to b4 check, sadly enough, this queen has to go back to d2, whereupon we take this queen and create our queen with a huge material advantage. So that's not a good option for white. What happens if we simply here take the g2 pawn? Well, that's where the final piece of puzzle comes into the picture. Did you see a killer blow here? You are a genius if you see bishop to b4, bam! So now by force we are winning the white queen, as the queen cannot take this bishop in the view of queen to e2 checkmate. So this is one of the high profile trap in this line, which you definitely want to watch out when you play this variation. Now before we leave, the last thing I want to point out that white can avoid this trap by playing queen to d4. However, I think after this, black get instant equalizer with the following sequence. Knight to f6, defending our bishop and threatening e captures f3. So white plays knight to e5, counter-attacking our bishop. But what I like about this variation is rapid, quick development of the black pieces. So first we play bishop to c5, attacking the queen, queen to a4, and now simply dropping the bishop back to f5. Black has a huge leading development, and as suggested by the engine, the base sequence goes as follows. Knight captures d7, bishop captures d7, white plays queen to b3, and here we have the last trick on the table, starting with a5. Okay, white should play a4 and game will remain balanced. But many of you will ask the simple question, why not taking on b7? After all, this is what white was aiming for it, right? Well, simply, he cannot touch this poison pawn. The answer is very obvious. You play bishop to b6, stopping all escape route for the white queen. And one of the game from the database finished very quickly, where white played this blunder move, knight to c3, which result in the loss of queen, with rook to a7 and the white sweetie disappear from the board. So that's it, guys. I hope with this mini lecture now you are confident enough to play this line against the classical London setup player. And I wish you best of luck for playing in your own games. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to like, subscribe and comment, and I will meet you in my next episode very soon. Bye and take care.